Don't you just love it, my friends, when Muslims try and convince you that their beloved fake prophet Muhammad wasn't actually a PDF file? He wasn't actually a bad man. He wasn't, wrong at all in many respects. He didn't die like a dog. He wasn't a total and utter dingbat. Nah, don't tell me that the fake prophet Muhammad was any of those things, because I'll not believe you. And in fact, in today's day and age, and the way they try and work things, with the language now, they will try and convince you that he wasn't a PDF file, that he didn't marry a 6-year-old because, well, it was very different back then. The ages were very different. So Aisha, she would have matured a little bit more. At 9, she more than likely had her period. And so therefore, because she had her period at 9, it means that she's a real woman. And now I can actually grape her, even though I'm a 50-year-old something man. So that's totally fine, according to some Muslim scholars. Now, there's this dingbat online that I kept repeatedly seeing, who seems to believe that Muhammad wasn't a PDF file. Now, let's watch this together and let's see whether or not any of the points that this dingbat decides to make actually work or make any kind of sense. Have a watch.
Muhammad, peace be upon him, did not marry a child, and I can prove it to you in less than 45 seconds. Point number 1 is in Islam, you are not allowed to marry a woman until she has passed the age of maturity. This is an Islamic rule. If a woman has not menstruated, you are not allowed to marry her. Therefore, you cannot marry children. But let's dig a little bit deeper. Number 2, she was past the age of maturity. So people say, oh, she was a child. In her own narrations, she played with dolls. Okay, so if you, non-Muslims, are going to take those narrations to be fact, you also have to take the narrations where she said, I am mature, also as a fact. Number 3 is she was engaged previously. It's not like, oh, there's a kid, let's get them while they're not paying attention. No, she was already engaged previously. She was a woman, okay? Number 4, her family was okay with it. Do you think you know more about Aisha than her family did? Her family was okay with the marriage. Do you think her family would be okay if she was a child? Absolutely not. This leads me to my next point. This is a big one. His enemies never critiqued him for this. All of the people who hated him and critiqued him for everything never critiqued his marriage with Aisha. You would think if it was so bad, if he actually married a child, there would have been any documentation of his enemies critiquing him, but it's never once mentioned, and it's only brought up in this modern world, never mentioned before. Brings me number 5, that the average age of the people that he married was 30 plus, right? So people, oh, he's this, oh God, blah, blah, blah. Shame on you. Do some research. No, he's not.
Yes, first point. In Islam, you're not allowed to marry a woman unless she has matured, meaning she has to have her first period. So does that mean that Aisha, 6 years old, according to the most authentic hadith, right, by Sahih Bukhari, that would mean that Aisha was 6 years old when she had her first period. So why in the world did Muhammad decide to wait until she was 9 years old, 3 years later, before he actually graped her? Why did he wait that long? If he knew that at 6 years old, she had already matured, why did he wait 3 years? Beloved Muslim scholar, why don't you tell me that? You know why? Ladies and gentlemen, we don't officially know why he waited 3 years, just out of sheer respect, possibly. I can't actually grape a 6-year-old. I'm going to grape her when she's 9. That's, yes, that's a little bit better, right? Could it be that Aisha had her first period at 9? Possibly. Not 6. Like, that's crazy to me if she's having it at 6. And if she is having it at 6, there's something definitely wrong there. Something went on. But we don't officially know what the full story is. But the Muslims will go, 6. He married her at 6. In Islam, it says you're not allowed to marry a woman until she's reached maturity. So therefore, 6 is the age of maturity. Let's go with that. And they try and justify it. She's a 6-year-old child. 6 and 9. Hasn't even hit 10 yet, for goodness sake. She's not even in double digits in her age. I see 6-year-olds and 9-year-olds, and I look at them and I'm going, Muhammad went after that innocent child. What the hell? That's his first point. But anyway, that still doesn't prove that Aisha, like, what do you consider a child, mate? What do you consider a child? Didn't explain that. Oh, but because she had her first period, she's no longer a child. And in Islam, that's what they say. Islam's wrong. You complete and utter dimwit. Oh, logic. She was already engaged previously. Therefore, she's a woman. Let's draw this out a little bit more, mate. Just not in a 45-second little rant that you love doing because, you know, people's brains don't think that deeply in 45 seconds. Most people, that is. So let's flesh this out a little bit, right? So because she was previously engaged to someone else, automatically means that she's a woman, according to you. Your dingbat logic, right? Okay. Did you know that in Afghanistan and in Iran and in several other places, child marriage is allowed? Did you know that? In Islam, they accept child marriage as a real thing. It's okay. You can marry a child. As long as you think that she's reached the age of maturity, it's okay. Man, I saw a video of, I think she's 11 years old and she's pregnant, heavily pregnant. And the man is some old dude, some old Muslim. The face of that child looked absolutely horrified. A young child. But you, see, this is what I mean about Muslims trying to defend their beloved fake prophet and how evil he actually was. They're trying to justify child rape. They'll try and twist the definitions, the words, the meanings, all that sort of stuff to suit their own narrative, to make them look like they're not bad or that Islam is not wrong, even though it is. So you, dingbat, by your stupid logic, I think lack thereof logic, right? You want to give us a 45-second, oh, Aisha played with dolls, and according to Aisha, she said she's mature. You know what girls do when they're playing with dolls? They think they're mature sometimes. Doesn't mean they're actually mature, just so you're aware. They act like they want to be mature. They act like adults. Just because you say that you are mature doesn't actually mean you are mature, just so you're aware. But, mate, go along with that 45-second dribble of actual nonsense. Seriously, trying to justify that Aisha, because she played with dolls, because she was previously engaged, mate, yes, I do. Because guess what? Parents back then did not care. They used to give away their kids to whoever they wanted. Didn't matter. As long as the price was right, usually they would have. So there's a massive flaw in your logic there, dingbat. Just so you're aware, yes, they would not have cared. Because for them, it means they can either get money. And I don't think you know anything about history, mate. Maybe you should look into history and child brides and child marriage, because you would find some very, very crazy, interesting stories that the parents gave up their kids. Parents, yes. Because usually it involved a dowry or money so they could live. Oh, this person, man, gives me a headache. Oh, because it's only brought up today because we actually have moral standing. That automatically means, according to this dingbat, automatically means because none of his enemies critiqued him. There's a reason why they're enemies. I think they were a little bit more interested in the fact that Muhammad tried to kill them rather than who he was sleeping with at the time, personally. But that's just a thought, right? It's a major thought that if I'm Muhammad's enemy, my at the time of the time period, the thing that I'm least worried about is the fact that he's sleeping with a child. I'm least concerned about critiquing whether or not Muhammad is sleeping with a adult woman or a child. I think my main concern is, hey, Muhammad is trying to kill us. Let's critique that. Oh, but according to this dingbat, it automatically means that because they didn't critique him on marrying Aisha, it makes it right. Because none of his enemies did. You know, none of his enemies critiqued him on being railed by the men of Al Zut either. You know, how many of his enemies critiqued Muhammad on how many people he killed? Or how many of his enemies critiqued Muhammad on the way he died? Dying like a dog, I wonder. How many? How many of his enemies actually critiqued him on like all the stuff that he did? Because, mate, in today's modern world, we have moral standing. We know what's right. We know what's wrong. At least I hope so, because this dingbat doesn't seem to really care about that. Seems like he's more trying to justify child rape than anything else. But anyway, how many, just out of curiosity, maybe you should do a little bit of a deep dive, mate, and make another video about this, of how many of Muhammad's enemies critiqued him on his way of life, just any other areas of his life. How many knew? I wonder. Was it known at the time that Muhammad married a 6-year-old and then raped her at 9? Or we now know because it's recorded. Maybe it wasn't back then. Maybe none of his enemies really knew. Ever thought about that? Probably not. Shame on you. Do some research. No, he's not. Hate to break it to you, mate. He is. Muhammad was a PDF file, and may he not rest in peace. May he rest in hell, burning for that fact, because he brought it upon himself. He was a false prophet, and I don't care what anyone says. That's the way it is. Because not just me, the Hadiths and the Quran all speak of it, by the way. You're just too blind to see it. So, Coffee House Christian, in the most authentic hadith narrated by Aisha herself, she explicitly says she was 6 years old. She never says that a 6-year-old, she was mature. I believe she says she was mature when they consummated the marriage at 9. He's trying real hard to justify child marriage. I'll give him that. Interesting. So here it is, narrated by Aisha. I used to play with the dolls in the presence of the Prophet, and my girlfriends also used to play with me. When Allah's apostle used to enter my dwelling place, they used to hide themselves, but the Prophet would call them to join and play with me. The playing with the dolls and similar images is forbidden, but it was allowed for Aisha at the time, as she was a little girl not yet reached the age of puberty. So dingbat, maybe you should read the authentic hadiths by your very own words. Do research. Know your history. Do research. Yes, mate. Do research. That would be great. Be very great. So here's the distinction between Jesus and Muhammad. Jesus said, you even touch a child, it would be better for you to hang yourself on a millstone in the ocean, where Jesus or God cannot find you, or it's hard to find you. That it would be better for you to do that than to harm a child or touch a child. And Jesus said, come to me. Muhammad, on the other hand, brought a sword. His way of dealing with things was to kill. That was his way of dealing with things. And yet, Islam, they want to try and persuade you that it's, number one, a religion of peace. And look, here it is. Juva Live, or whatever the hell his name is. I really, sometimes I see the things that guy makes and I'm like, man, what the hell's going on in your brain? David Wood goes, I wish this were a parody account. Islam is a religion for alpha males. Only a beta male feels weird about marrying his cousin. You heard that correctly, guys. Not only are they trying to justify child marriage, but also cousin marriage. Incest, too. Just keeps on getting better and better, doesn't it? And this is the religion that 1 point something, or I don't know how many billion people following a lie. And that's just like the surface level stuff. That's just talking about their stinking profit. That's not like going into the actual deep parts of the religion itself. Mate, anyway, I'm done. Before I get even more outraged at dingbats. But you guys take care, be blessed, and I'll see you all in the next video.